Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to plumb a wall. Now this is just a 16-foot wall, but you can do this on any length of wall. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your wall is plumb. So you'll put this your level on there to make sure that the wall is plumb in both directions. You'll plumb it on this side, you'll plumb it on this side. And when you make sure it's plumb, then you'll put this diagonal brace on there, and then you'll put a diagonal brace going down the other side. Now, when you nail those diagonal braces, you nail them as low down as you can get. So you're going to nail them into the bottom plate, or you're going to nail them into the floor if it's available. And then on the top, again, you're going to nail it into the top plate. Don't nail it into the studs, okay? Then you're going to put a nail right here around the corner. I'm going to plumb the wall going down where that string is. So I'm going to put a nail right around the corner, and then I'm going to go down to the other end, and I'm going to put a nail around the corner over here. Then I'm going to take my string, I'm going to wrap it around the nail. I'm going to wrap it around that nail, not this one. This one is for the other side. And then it's going to go across this brace, and then it's going to go back along to the other side, and it's going to wrap around over here. Just wrap it around half a dozen times and just let it hang there. Make sure when you pull that string, you pull it as tight as you can get it. Okay, you always want that string as tight as you can get it. Now, if you don't have a brace here, you can nail a block, a 2x4 against the stud wall and use that instead. But since we have the brace here, we'll use the brace. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure the distance from the brace, or excuse me, the top plate to the wall. So you see here that it is 9/16, 1 9/16, give or take. And then I'm going to go down to the other end and do the same thing. So it'll give me an idea of how close my line is. Okay, so this one, again, you're looking at about 9/16. So when I go to measure the rest of this, I'm going to measure it at 9/16. So I would mark here, and I would try to get it on to 9/16. Then I go a little further, and I would try to get it on, it would have to be on 9/16. Now I've got this other diagonal brace here that goes down to the floor, and there's a scab board on the floor that is nailed onto the floor. Now when you nail the scab board onto the floor, you want to hit the floor joist, otherwise they might pull out. So make sure that you hit a floor joist. And once I have the diagonal brace in place, then I will measure, get my 1 9/16, which you can see, it's kind of hard to tell in this, but it's going to be 1 9/16. Then I would nail the bottom of that diagonal brace, and then this part of my wall is plumb. Then I would just continue down, making sure that this whole distance from the string to the wall is the same. I want it about 1 9/16. So you can see where it's about 1 9/16. If I do that for the entire length of the wall, then my wall will be plumb. Okay, now some things you have to worry about. You can see where these two boards right here are not quite flush, so you have to be aware of that so you don't measure and get it into the wrong place. Okay, now how often do you need to put one of those diagonal braces towards the floor? Well, you can put one as often as you need one. If you got some walls that are just not going straight, you could put a brace every 4 feet if you needed to, or you could put one every 8 feet or every 10 feet. It just depends on how often you need one to keep the wall straight. So again, all it takes is a nail on this end with the string wrapped around it, running down to the other side of the wall with the string wrapped around it, and then pull it really tight, and then just measure. You're going to measure along so that that string is the same distance all the way along the wall. If you do that, your wall will be plumb. Okay, so here's the pictures of the diagonal braces in place. We've got one that way, and then over here you have one going that way. So that way, that keeps that corner plumb. It will not move. And then on the inside, you have the diagonal brace going from the floor to the top. So if you're going to put plywood on the outside, make sure that your brace does not poke out, because then you would have to move it to put the plywood on the outside of the house. Okay, you can also put these diagonal braces on the inside. So if you are going to sheet the outside, then put the braces on the inside so you don't have to move them or remove them when you put the sheeting on. So you can see where my students have plumbed that wall over there with that diagonal brace. You got the diagonal braces back there in the corner, and you have a diagonal brace on all the corners. Okay.